Hi Lazasha, how are you doing? I really appreciate if you could help me, maybe just by replying. Yo, my FSJ will be ending in August, was doing it in the kindergarten, and now I have been applying for nursing with no responses. I wanted to ask if you can have any ideas or links, please forward me. Thank you so much. Because I've realized that I've been getting quite a few questions really with people that are kind of in a similar situation, I believe. So I decided, okay, let's make like an actual video and kind of like do like a low-key deep dive into what you guys can do. And because of that, I did prepare 5 tips that I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video on what you can do if you are in a similar situation or you also want to transition from FSJ to Ausbildung. It has been the longest time. I know. It has been the longest time. Now, first things first, the one thing that I do not do agency work. That means I do not help with placement, like charging you or anything like that. I do not do that. Honestly, I just do not have the time for that, if I'm being honest. But what I do share with you guys, my experience, my journey, my tips. A few videos back, I made a detailed video on how to transition from FSJ to Ausbildung. So make sure to check that video out. I explained everything in detail. If you're in this similar situation where he or she is trying to transition from FSJ to Ausbildung, so please make sure to check that video out. I explained everything in detail. However, if you are kind of hitting this kind of a roadblock, if I should say, here are my tips. Now let's get started. So the first thing that you want to do, I'm a Christian girly. I'm always going to tell you that this process is not wise to do it by yourself. The amount of mental energy that you need to put into it, the amount of emotional energy that you need to put into it, the paperwork, the people that you need to talk to, the interviews, everything, the traveling, the making sure you're choosing the right Ausbildung, it's a lot on our human minds. So I would encourage you really to pray about it. Include God on the journey, so that he leads you and he guides you through it. That's what I did, and I noticed that honestly, I could not have gone through the whole entire process by myself. Pray about it, fast about it if you must. His word does say, do not be anxious about anything, but in all things, with prayer, petition, and thanksgiving, let your request be made known to God. Include him on this journey, you know what I mean? And don't go through it alone. And second, try to apply to different states in Germany. Germany, if I'm not mistaken, has 16 different states, which, according to what I've noticed, some of them operate with different like rules and regulations and requirements and stuff like that. So if you are only just applying to one state, you kind of like limiting your options, if I should say. So try and apply to different states in Germany. For example, for me to be able to do my Ausbildung, in my state where I live, they needed me to just give them my ordinary level. That was enough. Yeah, my ordinary level from Zimbabwe. Of course, I had to anerkennen it to get it anerkannt, but that's all they needed. But other people were telling me that in different states, you also needed to give them the A level, the advanced level, I did have the advanced level, but when I sent it, they told me, nah, we just need your ordinary level. This pass on. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, cool. Third thing that I'm going to say is send as many emails per day as possible. If it means 5 per day, 6 per day, 2 per day, send as many as possible. And also keep in mind that if you're trying to apply for an Ausbildung, you may not be able to apply for a place, to be able to get a place directly to the hospital, but to the Träger, if that makes sense. And then maybe one Träger has like maybe 5 or 6 different hospitals under it, if that makes sense. So you might want to try and get the Trägers. And I feel like you stand a wider chance to get more responses if you apply to a Träger than if you apply to a hospital, or some of the times it could be that when you apply to a hospital, then they redirect you to their Träger and tell you, oh, it's nice, but apply to our Träger and let them know that you want to do an Ausbildung here, if that makes sense. So try and apply to Träger. The fourth thing, if it's kind of like the medicine or the medical aspect of it, and by medical I don't mean just like the doctor aspect of it, but like the medicine, to do with medicine, like helping, caring for patients, or to do basically in the medical field, if I should say. If that is what your goal is, then maybe you don't have to specifically try out for the generalistische Pflegeausbildung, but you could also be open to other Ausbildungs. For example, like the MFA, that's like you're doing an Ausbildung to be a doctor's assistant, if that makes sense. You know, you still have contact to patients, you still are kind of like active on patients. You can try OTA. If I'm not mistaken, that has to do with helping in the operations room. There's OTA, there's ATA, you know, all these other ones, they are still in the medical field, you're still kind of like in the medicine area. And then from there, you can then check later on if you still really want to have generalistische Pflegeausbildung, then you can try and check later on how you can transition from that to the generalistische, if that makes sense. I mean, I do know a person who generalistische Pflegeausbildung, they didn't want to do that one, and instead they went for MFA, and it's also 3 years long, you know. There will be other options that you could look into. OTA, ATA, MFA, look at these other Ausbildungen as well. And my last tip, if your heart is set definitely on the generalistische Ausbildung, like if you're like, no, Lasasha, I want to be a nurse specifically, then I would suggest for you maybe to start with the KPH Ausbildung. Now this is the, if I'm not mistaken, Krankenpflegehelfer. So you're kind of like an assistant to the nurses. And most people do this. They start with the 1 year Ausbildung, which is the KPH. And then after 1 year, then you transition then to the 3 year Ausbildung. So that could also be another option for another route. If it's the case that maybe the 3 year one Ausbildung is the ones that are not giving you the responses that you're liking, you could try and opt for the KPH option first, and then go into the 3 year Ausbildung. Anyways, you guys, if you find these tips helpful, please do let me know in the comment section down below. And if you have any other tips, hey, if you've done MFA, if you've done MFA, if you've done OTA, ATA, or if you're currently an Atsubi in these areas, please do share with me down in the comment section down below and let us know what kind of inspired your decision to do the MFA route or the OTA route. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on my next video. Bye.